Okay, welcome in one and all. I'm now going to be doing my previews for week 13 of the NFL season. Hard to believe we're already at week 13 already. The Thursday night matchup takes place with the two teams you see on your respected screen, with the Seattle Seahawks, and they're heading into Arlington to take on the Dallas Cowboys. The Seahawks are sitting at 6-5. The Cowboys are at 8-3. As we speak, both these teams are in a playoff position right now, both in a wild card respectively. I will give the edge to the Cowboys in this matchup. I just believe that they should be able to defeat the Seahawks, especially on their home turf. So I will give the edge to the Cowboys in this matchup. The next matchup takes place in Foxborough, where we have the New England Patriots, and they're taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. So to say that this has been a disappointing season for both these teams would be a major understatement. There was a lot of hype with the Chargers, especially after they made the postseason last year. And I believe that the Patriots should have been a little bit better than what they were. But that AFC East is extremely competitive when you have the Dolphins and the Bills, respectively, in that division. So for the Patriots, it's been a very long season, to say the least. 2-9 is where they sit at this point in the season, while the Chargers are at 4-7. I will give the edge to Justin Herbert and friends. I believe that they should be able to prevail and get a victory, especially since, like I said, New England only has 2 wins on the season thus far. Our next matchup takes place in New Orleans, where we have a pretty big matchup for both these teams, respectively. The Saints are playing host to the Detroit Lions. So Lions are coming to this match sitting at 8-3. The Saints are tied with the Falcons first in that NFC North division at 5-6. So like I said, this is a major game for both these teams respectively. They're both trying to stay competitive. For the Lions, obviously, they would love nothing more than to secure their 9th win of the season and hopefully getting that much closer to securing a NFC North title. As for the Saints, after the loss last week to the Falcons, like I said, they are still tied with Atlanta. But if those two teams happen to have the same record by the end of the season, obviously the Falcons will get the edge in this one. So it's going to be a huge game for the Saints if they want to be able to stay competitive and be atop of that NFC South division. I am going to give the edge to the Lions in this matchup. I just believe they should be able to bounce back after their Thursday night matchup, and obviously having the extra days off should help this team get more rest and be more prepared for Sunday's action. The next matchup takes place in Houston, where we have the Texans, and they are playing host to the Denver Broncos. Both these teams are in a wild card hunt. As we speak, the Colts, I believe, have the number 7 seed right now. So for the Texans, they would love nothing more than to defeat the Broncos and be able to guarantee to get into a wild card position. And speaking of the Broncos, they are the hottest team in the NFL as of right now. They are currently on a 5-game winning streak. So a win here could really go a long way to see if this team can make a postseason push. Despite the fact that I am a Broncos fan, I've said that in almost all my videos, I do believe the Texans most likely will get the victory. There's just something about CJ Stroud. This kid is unbelievable, and I just can't say enough about him. And if it wasn't for a missed field goal last week, they could have had an opportunity to play for overtime and almost been guaranteed a victory at that point. They had the momentum heading into that late fourth quarter push. So I will give the edge to the Houston Texans in this matchup. Our next one takes place in New York, where we have the Jets, and they're playing host to the Atlanta Falcons. So I just spoke about the Falcons briefly before when I was previewing the Saints. So obviously they had a big win last week. They are now sitting atop of that NFC North division, or tied, I guess, for that NFC North division. So there's a big road game for them. And for the Jets, again, a season that just seems like it's falling apart. And a loss here, you can almost pretty much write this season off, because once you have 8 losses, it's going to be hard to win 5 straight games after that, especially when you're starting a quarterback who you're benched. Wilson. Rodgers obviously isn't playing, so I'm not sure how well this quarterback that they have under center is going to be able to play. And as for Desmond Ridder, yeah, good games, bad games, but I will give the edge to him at the quarterback position and give the edge to the Falcons. I really think they should be able to get back to playing 500 football by the end of this matchup. Next matchup takes place in the Steel City, where we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are playing host to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are coming into this matchup sitting at 2-10. Obviously, no chance of making the postseason. And speaking of the postseason, the Steelers are sitting at 7-4. They are in a wild card position as we speak. I believe they should be able to secure yet another victory, getting their 8th win of the season, especially when you're playing against one of the worst teams in the NFL. All right, our next matchup takes place in Tennessee, where we have the Titans, and they are playing host to the Indianapolis Colts. So a divisional matchup. For the Colts, they are sitting at the number 7 seed in the AFC wildcard position, so a big game for them. I'm sure they would love to nothing more than to get a victory, and especially getting a victory over your division foe. That can go a long way in securing a playoff push. They are sitting at 6-5 currently, and the Titans are sitting at 4-7. So for the Titans, I mean, what can you say about the Titans? Inconsistency. There's a lot that you can say about this team. They had a lot of hype coming into this year, and I even predicted that they would finish, either the Titans or Jaguars would finish atop of that AFC South division, but they're in last place in that AFC South, so I never would have guessed that at all by the time we got to week 13 of this season. But ultimately, this is where we are at, so I will give the edge to the Colts in this matchup. All right, the next one takes place in Washington, where we have the host team in the Commanders, and they're playing against the Miami Dolphins. So for the Dolphins, you have to look at this matchup and think, okay, we're very good against teams that have below 500 records, so this should be a W. As for the Washington Commanders, another losing season. Just that way, they're coming into this matchup sitting at 4-8, and the Dolphins are sitting at 8-3. So I will give the edge to the away team in this particular matchup. I just believe the Dolphins, again, like I said, they always seem to do well against teams with below 500 records. This is a perfect opportunity for them to secure another W in their favor. The next matchup takes place in Tampa Bay, where we have the host team and the Buccaneers, and they are playing against the Carolina Panthers. So the Panthers, by far the worst team in the entire league. They're coming into this matchup with only 1 win on the season, 1-10. For the Buccaneers, they're sitting at 4-7. Now, for the Buccaneers, this would be an absolute wild shot, but if there's a slim chance that both the Saints and the Falcons lose and the Buccaneers win, then there'd be like a 3-way tie for first place and that very weak NFC South division. So not all hope is lost, but obviously if you were to lose this matchup, especially to the worst team in the football, then you can pretty much kiss any chance of making a comeback or attempting to make the postseason. Because if you don't secure an NFC South division title, you're not making a wild card position. If I'm going to be honest, especially if you go to 4-8 at the end of this matchup. So they should be able to win. And again, if they do win, that can go a long way for the rest of the season. But if they happen to lose to the Panthers, you can pretty much write this season off. Next matchup takes place in Los Angeles, where we have the host team in the Rams, and they are playing against the Cleveland Browns. A very big game for both these teams. Should see the logos on the screen as we speak. So the Browns obviously lost a big game last week to the Broncos, but they are still sitting at 7-4, so they are still in a playoff position and wildcard position. As for the Rams, they won last week. They are now sitting at 5-6, and even though they are below 500, the wildcard position and the NFC is wide open. Like, it's not like teams are 8-7 wins. A lot of them only have 6 wins. So if the Rams can somehow get a victory over the Browns in this matchup, I believe they can stay in a contention spot, at least for a wild card position. I want to give the edge to the Rams, only because of the amount of injuries the Browns have, and obviously losing 2 quarterbacks. They lost Watson, then they lost whoever they had last week. They lost him as well. So they're down to like their 3rd string quarterback. So I will give the edge to the Los Angeles Rams to get a home win over the Cleveland Browns. The next matchup, quite possibly the game of the week between two of the top teams in the NFC. We have the host Philadelphia Eagles, and they are playing against the NFC leading San Francisco 49ers. So there's just two games that are separating these teams from being the first overall in the conference. The Eagles are coming into this matchup sitting at 10-1, while the 49ers are at 8-3. So if the 49ers can somehow get an away win in this one, they can really stay that much closer, or move that much closer to getting a top seed in the NFC. But I do believe that the brotherly shove should get the edge in this matchup. I just have a lot of faith in Jalen Hurts, and in my opinion, as of right now, he would be my front runner to get the MVP. Two more matchups. So the Sunday night matchup takes place in Wisconsin, where we have the Green Bay Packers, and they're playing host to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are coming into this matchup sitting at 8-3 atop of the AFC West division, while the Packers are creeping their way back into a playoff contention. I believe they're the number 8 seed, if I'm not mistaken, sitting at 5-6. So this is a huge, crucial game for the home team if they want to be able to try and stay in a playoff position. Obviously, if a loss here, you drop to 5-7. Not all hope is lost, but obviously you'd be 2 games below 500, and then you'd have to pretty much win your remaining 5 games just to try and get a position. I'm going to give the edge to the Chiefs. I just think they are the better team on paper, and even though they have been struggling and they do lead the league in most drop passes, I still have a lot of faith in Patrick Mahomes getting the victory in this matchup. The Monday night game takes place in Jacksonville, where we have the Jaguars, and they're playing host to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, obviously, if Joe Burrow wasn't gone for the entire season, I'd say this is a pretty crucial matchup for both these teams, but a pretty big game. But unfortunately, if you don't have your star quarterback in playing in, it's going to really derail your season. So the Bengals are coming in this matchup sitting at 5-6, while the Jaguars are atop of the AFC South, sitting at 8-3. I'm going to give the edge to Trevor Lawrence. I just believe he is a very good quarterback. There's a reason why he got picked. There's a reason why the Jaguars made it to the postseason, got a division crown last year, and then made it to a divisional round matchup. That was not a fluke, to say the least. So I will give the edge to the Jaguars in this matchup. So there are 6 teams that are on their bye week. The Las Vegas Raiders, they are sitting at 5-7. The New York Giants are sitting at 4-8. The Minnesota Vikings are at 6-6. The Chicago Bears 4-8. The Buffalo Bills 6-6, and the Baltimore Ravens at 9-3. So those are all my picks for Week 13. I will see how I do when I upload my video next Tuesday, and we'll see where I'm at with my overall record. As always, if you like this type of content, I do videos on the daily. Please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative at the same time. As always, take care.